Ready Player One is directed by Steven Spielberg, and it stars Tye Sheridan, Olivia Cooke, Ben Mendelsohn, and TJ Miller. And in this review, because this movie came out several weeks ago, I'm going to be talking spoilers. I finally got a chance to see this movie, so if you haven't seen this movie, definitely go see it before you watch this review. I don't want to ruin the movie for you. When Halliday, the creator of the Oasis, a virtual reality world, dies, he leaves behind a legacy, which is the greatest puzzle that he's ever made. Basically, these players in this virtual reality world have to find these keys, and when they find all the keys, they are given his fortune that he left behind and control of the Oasis, this virtual reality world. And all these characters are trying to search for this. There's a big company called IOI run by Ben Mendelsohn's character who's trying to seize control of the Oasis because obviously it's worth a lot of money. Now, I didn't know anything going into this movie. All I knew is that it was based off of the book, and it was about this virtual reality video game world that, you know, people are trying to just play games. I had no idea that there was this big secret around it that, you know, if somebody finds all these keys, they control the Oasis. I thought that was a great idea. What a fantastic idea for the original book and obviously for the movie. And I thought Steven Spielberg was a great choice for this movie. I haven't seen a lot of his newer movies. They just kind of flew underneath the radar for me. But Ready Player One was definitely one of those movies that I wanted to see. From the trailers, I saw that it was going to be chock full of 80s references and even 90s references, and it really is, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the cast was fantastic. Tye Sheridan did great as the lead as Wade, but in the video game known as Parzival, along with all of his support cast members that played H, Artemis, and all the other characters that are his friends who eventually become the High Five, what it's known as. They did great. I appreciated the fact that honestly, for me, I had never seen any of these actors in a movie before this. Obviously, Ben Mendelsohn I've seen. TJ Miller, I thought he was a great cast as his character. I think his character's name was I-Rock, or I-Rock, whatever. It's, you know, I-Rock. It was funny. And I enjoyed his character. He was like the super nerd that knew everything about every video game and knew how to do all the spells that were required for certain power-ups. Ben Mendelsohn's character, he was great as another villain. He plays the villain role really well. He's the CEO of IOI, and I have questions about IOI later on in this review, but I thought they all did fantastic in their roles. Simon Pegg did fantastic as his roles. You know, no complaints there. Obviously, the Oasis was amazing. It was well thought out. It was really cool to see everything that was going on in this world, this virtual reality world, this virtual world. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Avatar, where, because, you know, everything is CGI, and it did kind of stick out as CGI. It didn't pull me completely out of the movie because I knew that I was watching supposedly a video game world. But I did enjoy it. It looked very cool. All those references and Easter eggs that they made to video games, like the Battletoads. You got Master Chief in there. You even have the Overwatch character. I don't know her name. I don't play that game. But you also even get like movie characters and movie props. Obviously, the DeLorean from Back to the Future is in it. The T-Rex from Jurassic Park. King Kong obviously plays a big role in this movie. Let's see, there's so many other things. Obviously, there's a huge thing about The Shining. All that was great. Even characters like the Iron Giant, and, you know, there's even a moment, just really quick, where the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show up in this movie. Did not see that coming at all. I thought it was great. Everything, there's probably tons of things that I missed that I recognized in the theater. I think there's a part where there's a Hello Kitty character walking around too. I don't remember exactly, but I thought all that was fantastic. It was just a joy to just watch and see all those characters, even for a short amount of time. It was fantastic. Mechagodzilla versus Iron Giant, and then obviously Gundam. That was awesome. I love that scene. There's just so much nostalgia built into this movie, and I really enjoyed it. And a lot of the references kind of went over my head because, you know, I grew up in the 90s, so all the 80s stuff, yes, I have watched a lot of 80s movies, and I like a lot of the 80s movies, but I don't live and breathe them, so I don't know all the references that they make in that movie. So the 90s stuff I got more so, but it's more so 80s references. I do have to say I like the message that this movie sends at the end, where basically, Halliday is telling Wade, reality is better than the Oasis, because that's the only place where everything's real. I kind of liked it. It was cheesy, but I liked it because, you have a lot of people just playing video games all day. This movie just kind of was a World of Warcraft on steroids, where everyone in the world wants to be there and play this game and just have fun and escape the crappy lives that they have. And that was cool, a concept for sure, and what a great idea. I could see that actually being in our future. But, I do like the undertone message of this movie where, reality is much better because, it's real. My biggest positive for this movie is just how much fun it was. There's just so much to see, so much to take in with your eyes. It's just incredible how they shoot it. And now onto the negatives, though, because I do have quite a few negatives, but they're not so big that it's going to hurt my grade for the movie. I thought that, H was a bit annoying. The voice of H was a little annoying when in the video game world. Yes, I know that is a girl disguising her voice, but it just something about that character just kind of annoyed me, especially during that Shining scene part where she's running all over the place and trying to survive and dodge, or she gets flooded by the blood, and then she ends up in that room where she's supposed to be. And it just, I don't know, I was annoyed by that scene. It was too much H. The shots in the video game world were just a little too intense, to the point where it was just, I felt like my eyes were being assaulted, which isn't a terrible thing. It was just too much to take in. I wanted every shot to last a little longer and be a little calmer, because I wanted to see everything that was going on, but the camera's just zipping through these scenes and you can't quite take it all in. And that was one of my bigger negatives, because, obviously it's a CGI world that they're creating, so the camera can go anywhere they want. It can go in the microscopic realm, it can go really big and then really tight in one shot. You can't really do that in, reality. So them to do that was okay. Mark Rylance as Halliday was kind of annoying to me. He just seemed like he was on drugs the entire time. Kind of like a Casey Neistat on drugs. And it just bothered me because, I just didn't like his character. He just seemed ungrateful for his success and just, I did it all and I don't want anybody. Obviously that's kind of the idea of the movie, is he was regretful at the end of his life, and he left a legacy because he didn't like the choices that he made in his life. But he seemed off to me, and I didn't like his portrayal. Maybe that's how he's supposed to be in the book. I don't know. I've never read the book, but I wasn't connecting with his character and didn't really care too much for him. One of my biggest negatives, though, is it's a small scene that, when Wade's aunt and her boyfriend, I believe it is, they get blown up in the stacks. They die. And several other people die, probably, or get injured severely. And 2 minutes, if that, later, Wade is perfectly fine. He doesn't even acknowledge the fact that his aunt just died. Granted, they weren't the best people to him. They were kind of jerks to him. But still, your aunt just died right in front of you, violently, in an explosion. He just, whatever. He's sad for like 20 seconds as that scene is playing out. But immediately after that, he's fine. The other big negative that I have is the fact that, during the movie, I figured, it's kind of like a dystopian society where there's no police force. It's just the rich and the poor, and that's all you have. And IOI, this corporation, is like raiding buildings like the FBI. And at first I thought, IOI is the police force. They own the police force. And then at the end, it's like, hey, the police are here to stop IOI and Ben Mendelsohn's character. And like the entire time I was watching it, I was like, where's the police? And then at the end, I was like, where were you guys earlier when stuff was really going down? Obviously, this serious stuff was about to go down at the end, but my goodness, the police just didn't do anything. And it really bothered me. I didn't get it. Overall, though, Ready Player One is a fun ride. It's a great, visually pleasing movie. Yeah, sure, there's a lot to take in, and I want to see it several more times to see if I can find all the little Easter eggs and all the characters that they make references to and all the other references that they make. I can't wait to own this movie. I give Ready Player One an A. I could have gone lower with the grade, but you know what? I had a lot of fun with this movie. Sure, it was predictable in some parts, but it's so much fun, and there's just so much to take in, and because of the rewatchability, because I really want to see it again, I got to give it a high grade. And it doesn't quite get the highest grade because of those things that I listed in my negatives. It just kind of hurt the movie a little bit, but not so much that it still doesn't get a good grade. So what did you guys think of Ready Player One? Did you like it, love it, or hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button so you can be notified of when we upload new content. Also, check out our Patreon page where you can support us and get early access to videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.